Good morning and welcome back to another episode of the Leadership Boy podcast. Enrique and Vince, and today we have one of exciting guests because they're doing some great things on the publishing side. But I'm gonna let Vince introduce.
Absolutely. Happy August, ladies and gentlemen. We're freaking excited, as Enrique mentioned, to talk about our dynamic individual from Monument, Colorado. He is Chris Schafer. He is the CEO of Tactical 16 Publishing. We're happy to have you, Chris. First, just dive and tell us a little bit about you.
Hey guys, first of all, thanks for having me on, man. I mean, this is great. Love being able to talk with guys that, have experienced things and, for the most part, understand leadership from a very intimate level. So, I'm honored just to be on your guys' show. So, listen, man, I got 25 years in the military. I retired from 3rd Special Forces Group. I spent quite a few years on operational detachment alphas, ODAs. And all over the world. So got out, didn't know what to do with my life because I had to grow up, right? You got to grow up after the military. And I went and got some schooling. I got finished 2 master's degrees. And then I just fell into this publishing company. And Tactical 16 Publishing is a great venue for guys and gals to be able to tell their stories, man. So I've been running it for a little while, and I found my new purpose, right? Like that's the hardest thing for us guys and gals is, we have such a dedicated purpose when we're serving our country. When we get out, we kind of lose that sense, I think. So this is my new purpose, man, is running this company. I love what I'm doing. I love helping people tell their stories. We don't change anything. We want to make sure that we're telling those stories exactly the way they have been remembered and experienced. So and writing's a therapy. So that's kind of the overview. Just I went straight from high school to the military, right out of there to schooling to publishing. I don't know how that happened, but it is what it is. It just fell in my lap. It really, I mean, there's, no other way to explain it, man. I think all things happen for a reason. And so here I am, man. So thanks, guys. I do appreciate being on the show.
Well, we're excited for you and this falling on your lap because I know for sure Vince and I have a story to put in a book. So we're gonna be reaching out one way or another.
Nice.
And Chris, you mentioned something that's it's something that we all share. We get out, we don't know what we're gonna do, but you chose this route for a reason. You're seeing the fruits of your labor. So tell us a little bit more about Tactical 16 Publishing itself.
So I'll give you a quick, brief overview of it. A guy by the name of Eric Shaw. He was a Cav scout in Iraq, and he got blown up. Okay, IED. He suffered a TBI, but he's got all his faculty, if you will. And really, while he was trying to recover from the TBI, I mean, they had to pull him out of country because I mean he was just not in a good spot. And his friends and family really asked him, hey, you should write your story. But he's like, I drive a tank for a living, man. Come on, what do I know about? I don't know anything about writing a book. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. But his daughter was really the catalyst for him to write his story. Um, and what he found out through the process of writing the book, it was very therapeutic. And that's something that I didn't understand either. When Dr. Carter approached me about helping him write a book, so I was getting my master's. He was one of my professors, and he said, "Hey, let's write a book together." I'm a Green Beret. I can do anything. Whatever. Writing a book's no big deal. And boy, was I educated. It's about 3 years of complete. I mean, I've never. It, it is a heck of a journey to write a book. So and Eric and I, he at the time he ran the publishing company Tactical 16, and he was asking us, me at the bar, we were having beers, and he goes, "Are you going to write anything about post-traumatic stress?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're thinking about that. We want to include something in there about it." Later, we actually took it out because it didn't relate to anything about leadership. Okay, we just didn't feel it would add any benefit to the whole story. But I did write a lot about, my experiences, and let me tell you, man, I've done a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things out there, like you can go fly fishing, you can go ride horses, you can, there's all kinds of things, and they're good. I mean, they just are. That everybody has their thing, and I'm not saying anything bad about them, but my experience is that what I wrote myself about my experiences when I really went down into those deep depths of things that happen. Writing was best therapy for me. And so Eric wanted to pass that along when he started the company because, and I don't think anybody really understands it until you sit down and try it. You know, you don't have to be a great writer, man. I mean, you can just journal 20 minutes a day, and there's plenty of studies out there that are proven to demonstrate that writing is a very good therapy. So that's kind of where it all started. It kind of hinged on that whole thing, from being injured to preserving his story for his family, to finding out that, it was very therapeutic and wanting to pass that on to guys and girls. Because you don't have to find a stream, you don't have to have a horse, you don't have to have an Indian sweat lodge, which I've been to, which is an interesting deal. And, I mean, you can do it anywhere. And so, and it's very useful, I think, in some sense, and it's a proven therapy. So that's kind of where the company started. And when I took it over, it was just Eric was, pretty burnt out with everything, and he just, wanted somebody else to kind of take the reins over and go from there. So, and we've done a lot since then. I mean, it's been around since 2012. Last year we did 9 different titles. This year we're already exceeding that pace. So and there's a lot of shady stuff that goes on in the industry. So it's there's lots of opportunity to make it better. So
Well, they picked a great person to lead the way, the charge, and make it better, as you mentioned. And kudos on you surpassing the 9 publishing mark on last year. And here we are, even through the pandemic and everything. So very curious, how you all are holding up and what are you currently doing within this whole new normal?
yeah, it was interesting. So we marketing and promotion is the biggest thing for authors. I mean, look, if you that in 2019 there was 1.6 million, more than 1.6 million self-published titles. So yeah, when you think about publishing and you're like, well, I'm going to do it myself because it's easier. I'll just put in the sweat equity. That's what you're up against. I mean, and that's not even we're not even talking the big 5, all the regular, published books. We're just specifically talking about self-published, like people going on the internet and putting their stuff on there. And that technology has really, gave us a huge opportunity to help us tell our stories. The problem is that if you don't have a marketing plan, there's no way you can get it out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you might have the best thing on the market, man. You might have the greatest book there ever was. But if nobody knows about it, that's the hardest part. So during the pandemic, we had to shift a little bit, but as everybody did, okay. But what's interesting is book sales went up because people are stuck at home, right? So we try to capitalize on that with social media, and we've really increased our ability to get the words out. about our products and when they're coming out, and pre-sales, and doing videos, and doing events. Still, we even did events during the pandemic. We just kind of had to, figure out what the venue wanted, what their regulations were, what they were going to do. But we still had events, man. I mean, and that's the thing. You just don't stop, just because, whatever X, Y, and Z happens, or Murphy comes up and, throws a monkey wrench into your plan, and now you've got to walk, to the objective instead of getting your helicopter ride, and you're all mad because you got to walk, I mean, you just suck it up, and you figure it out, and you just make it happen. And so that's what I love about the people that were telling the stories of. They get it, they get it and they understand it, and man, they're willing to walk, they're willing to walk to the objective if they got to. So yeah, I mean, we're just, man, we're just trudging along, baby.
It's amazing that you give the facts, the figures on the book increases, because I've never bought as many books as I've had in this last year that in my whole life. I mean, I'm looking at a stack right now of books that I've read. So yeah, I validate your comment, and it's amazing, and actually that's a good thing. I've never
Yeah.
seen a reading that has gone away, practically with audiobooks and all that other things, become such a mainstream again. So I hope people take it on and continue it. So having that background, knowing that the sales of books are going up is a great thing. But what's on the horizon for you guys? What's coming up in the future? What do you guys have planned?
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? I mean, think about, so we're kind of in the entertainment business, if you will. I mean, that's kind of the genre of stuff we do. But the industry, if you look specifically at, uh, print type media, okay, books in particular, it's usually for mainstream books. You always go to the author's name. If you want Stephen King, you don't look for Penguin House, right? If you're reading David Balditi, you're going to go look for David Balditi, right? It's all about the name recognition from the author themselves, okay? Or a series like On Killing, okay? And, you know, uh, the following that is built for the author is what's important. So that is kind of the way things work. See, you can't even get published unless you're a big name, usually, okay? Unless you got millions of followers. Penguin and Random House, they're not even going to pick you up, man. You've got 1/100th of a chance to get a contract with them, okay? Unless you're the governor of New York, or you're a TV host or whatever, right? I mean, because they're just not going to do it. They're just not, because the way the industry works is, the publishing company knows, based upon your following and how influential you are, how many sales they're going to have right out of the gate. I mean, that's just how it works. So, I mean, guys like Stephen King had to build them their way up, J.K. Rowling's and people like that. I mean, there are those few stories that are like, just phenomenal. But they had a very robust type marketing plan behind that actual author and that title. So, being an unconventional guy like I am, we don't want to play that game because I can't compete with those guys. I'm just, I'm not going to get the governor of, New York, or the governor of anybody to come probably publish with us, because I don't got a $10 million deal I can give them up front. Okay. It's not how it's going to work. So what we're doing right now is we're making Tactical 16 a household name. That's the way we want to work it, is like, the people will know who Tactical 16 is, what we do, why we exist, and they will go to our site and purchase our authors' books just for that reason, knowing that they're helping somebody out, or they want to read a great story, and who we represent and what we do. And so you guys know force multipliers. And so that's kind of the thing, right? I mean, we understand that, and it's, 1 and 1 makes 5. You know what I'm saying when we're talking about force multipliers, right? So, all of our authors, we have certain people that we know, friends and family, certain influencers, our small group of individuals. But the whole premise is, hey, look, Tactical 16 is helping these authors get these stories out. This is what we do. This is who we support. And that's the flip. Like, we want to flip the industry on its head. Like, you won't go to see, Kim, because you don't know Kim, but you know Tactical 16, and you want to read a story, you want to support a vet or a first responder or maybe a friend and family member, and so even if you don't read the book, you can support an author, and you can help our cause, and that's the way we want to flip this whole thing on its head. And so, and the big guys, they're not going to do that. Why would they do that? I mean, they get Stephen King, right? So why do they care? They got Cuomo. Why do they care? They don't care. So yeah, that's our concept. I think a lot of people resonate with it. And I don't know how to operate any other way. I mean, I'm not so narcissistic that it would be, Chris Schafer and yeah, and I've got, whoever it might be, is a big name. I mean, people would just buy their books just because, they've got that name on there. So
No, I think it's a great paradigm shift to have that opportunity to everybody understand that Tactical 16 will be that household name. So kudos to you looking at the horizon in the future, because you can't compete with the big fish, but you're creating your own niche, and there's a great population so that folks could get exposed to and learn from and be aware of. So thank you for all that, Chris. And we'll share at the end a little bit more how to get a hold of you. I know listeners want to know more, but first, let's dive a little bit into our leadership. Thank you. Yeah, two masters. Went to high school. Got 20 plus years in the military. Got two masters. So, hey, one way of professional development, and you shared another. Writing is therapy. So that's definitely another way to expose yourself to learning who you are and what you're capable of. But what professional development areas do you work on to improve your capabilities as a leader, Chris?
that's a great question, Vince. And so, I think all of us leaders, we understand that we have to be continuous learners and readers. Just because you got two masters or a doctorate doesn't mean that you're the smartest guy in the house. You know, if you believe that, you're gonna get embarrassed real quick. I mean, I've seen it so many times. Guy thinks he knows everything, goes up there, and then some kid just blows him out of the water with a question he just can't even answer. Because he never even thought about it. And so I love audiobooks. I like to work out and listen to my audiobooks and learn. There's always new stuff coming out. Not that all of it's really, great or earth shattering or different or anything, but it might just be something that you resonate with that's just said a little bit differently, right? I mean, you can read the same book 5 times and it won't, you might not get it till the fifth time, or you might not recognize something about that, subject until you've grown a little bit, if you experienced a few things. And so, I continue to learn to try to improve just by simply, man, looking out there for stuff that can make me a smarter guy, a better, organizer, more efficient, stuff like that. And I never take my master's, like that's it, I'm done, because that's when you're going to get yourself in trouble, man. You're just going to get yourself in trouble. I mean, look at Kodak, right? Kodak's was a great company, right? I mean, it's a great example, right? They were, I mean, they were state of the art, like, and then they couldn't keep up with digital, man. And they're done. I mean, they're gone. I mean, what do they do now? I mean, I think the company still exists, but it's like these electric cars. I mean, we're seeing more and more of them. I mean, they're coming. I mean, I don't think there's any way we're going to get around them. We'll probably always have some type of, gas vehicle, but the idea is that, man, if you're not trying to keep up and learn and change and improve yourself and be better, all the time, then man, you just you're a narcissist, or I mean, you think you're just that good. And man, you get humbled so much. I get humbled all the time. Like, I mean, just like writing the book, I was like, man, writing a book is nothing, and then I was just I was so ready to be done when I co-authored, and I only co-authored, I didn't even write the whole thing, man. So it's just this learning process, and just really be humble. Just tell yourself, and you're not all that, bro. You today you need to learn something new.
You mentioned Kodak, and what's amazing, and a lot of people don't realize that they were the producer of the very first digital picture.
Really?
Yes, they
And
were.
why did they capitalize on it?
They
I
did
don't even
not
get.
adopt. They didn't adopt, right? And
Wow.
so, you learn through life experiences how to adopt some things. And
Yeah.
just like Blockbuster didn't adopt, they didn't
Yeah,
embrace,
Blockbuster's another one. Yeah.
so there's a lot of young people growing up now that are void of strong leadership, but there are people like you that have not only served in our nation's military, but grew up learning leadership tidbits, golden nuggets, and would love to hear from you what you would advise them as an emerging leader, somebody just learning the ropes now. What could they do to become a better leader where they are right now?
So the first thing I would say is you need to be willing to stretch yourself. Okay. If there's an opportunity, you need to take it. I mean, a lot of people I talk to, they're saying, oh, their kids don't want to take a management role, or they don't want to do this, or they don't want to do that. When there's opportunities there for them to do that. And I think the only way you're going to be able to gain that knowledge is by experiencing those roles, and taking those on, and not being afraid to fail, you know. Um, and there's a lot to that. I mean, if your boss doesn't want you to fail, he's probably not the guy you need to be working for, in my opinion. Um, Simon Sinek. I love Simon Sinek. He's a start with why, and just all the things. I just read his most recent book, but um, you know, and there's resources out there for you once you take on that new role, that you need to go out and seek yourself. Because if you're not trying to improve yourself by reading and trying to learn new things, and you don't need to go to, I mean, you can go to college, that's great, and that's fine. Um, but there's so many other resources out there that you can tap into, to become a better leader. And find a mentor, man. Find a mentor. Go out there and find somebody that's been there, done that, has struggled and failed and, messed up. And, I mean, kids think, and young people think that, well, that guy's already successful. And they don't understand the struggle that came before it, you know?
No, absolutely. The struggles are real, and it's part of growth, and it's a part of success. So understanding all that, there's no microwave fix here. One day, you grow, you graduate from college, and before you know, you're a millionaire. That's not happening. And that's some of the mentality that, young folks have, I want to have it now. But you have to go through these stages and this journey, and having a mentor, willing to stretch, get out of your comfort zone are great, but it deals also with these challenges. So let's dive a little bit about that. How do you handle, Chris, challenges you faced or currently facing?
Vince, I think the thing, it will go back to that narcissistic thing, right? Like, if you think you know everything, you are just going to fall on your face. Look, not everybody knows everything. You just can't do that, okay? So surrounding yourself with good people. I have my team lead for our graphic art design. She is she's probably I don't know. I don't want to date myself, but she's probably 20 years younger than me. Okay. And man, she's so unassuming, but when I can sit down and talk to her and bounce things off of this gal, I mean, she's really level headed. She knows, and she can suggest things. She doesn't give me like answers. She just says, well, in my past industry and dealing, we did this. Try that. You know, and it's those people, I think, that you surround yourself with, good people, honest, hardworking, they have integrity, right? A lot of the military things that we all understand and know, and having those people to lean on. You do have your strengths. Okay, everybody has their strengths and our abilities, but we have to know ourselves. If we don't know ourselves, I mean, that's Sun Tzu, right? Know yourself and know thy enemy, and you will not fail in 100 battles, right? So that's a great principle, but I don't think a lot of people, they think they're, oh, I'm in the leader and I've got to do everything. You got to get out of that mindset. You got to get out of the fact that, look, you know, you are the leader and you're responsible. Yes, you have to carry the weight on your shoulders. But as long as you understand that there are people out there to help you, and you got to rely on good people to be able to help you get through those situations and those hard times, and when things are messed up, you know, be open to suggestions, whining, Vince, whining's a different story. When people are just whining, that doesn't help. You know, okay, yes, I got it. The situation's terrible. Things are bad. Nothing's going right. Yes, we're losing revenue. Whatever it is. Okay, so what's the solution? Don't come to me and just tell me it's bad, because the leader already knows that. And if he doesn't, doesn't need to be in that position, right? So I think that's the key is, you know, you 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 have to take the responsibility, but you need good people around you, and you need to seek good counsel, right? That's a biblical principle, right? Seek good counsel, and knock, ask, and seek, and you shall receive. But you can't go ask a knucklehead on the street. You got to ask good people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that I think that's how you get through those tough spots. And you're gonna have them. I don't care who it is. You're just gonna have them. And unfortunately, you might have a Judas among your midst too. So you got to be careful. Um, so but learning by experience is just the way things are, man. You just you know, and you got to humble yourself.
Great tips for challenges, and challenges undoubtedly will bring times of change. And one of the hardest things for people to do is embrace change. So, having said that, what advice do you have in times of change? What do you implement in times of change that you can share?
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one, right? I mean, because, you know, when first of all, I think you have to be able to recognize that there is a change. And if you can't recognize it, if you're so stuck, I mean, like Kodak, like you said, I didn't even know they had the first digital, you know, and that makes sense, right? I mean, they're the biggest players around, and they even knew it was coming. But why didn't they understand that that change was something that was, I mean, was, if they didn't embrace it, they were going to be done. And obviously that's what happened to them. So yeah, understanding and recognizing that change is coming, I think, is the real first hurdle that we have to overcome. And we have to be willing to accept it, right? Like, we don't ever want to accept change. I mean, we get stuck in our ways and we want things to go a certain way. And we're very comfortable with, the status quo. Well, that's the way we always done it. Well, maybe you should listen to these younger guys, because that's not the way it's always going to be. And if we get stuck in that situation without recognizing that there is change, that's when it's real detrimental to us. So that's the first step, I really believe. and, coming to grips with it, man, just saying, hey, look, we're not going to be able to do the same things we were able to. And it might be a huge change. And so that's I think if we can understand that first, and then, it just kind of falls back onto finding the right people, getting the right counsel, asking the right questions. That's a huge one, right? Is asking the right questions. I mean, you're going to ask a bunch of questions, but if they don't, they're not giving you the right answers to what you're looking for. I mean, put yourself in the CEOs of Kodak at the time. I mean, what questions would you ask the guys? Okay, you got a digital photo and you can put it on digits. What does that look like in the future? I mean, how do you ask the right question, right? I mean, even if you accept the change, you have to understand where it's going. And getting to that point is, hopefully you got the right people and you take it, But yeah, I think that's the first part, man, is just accepting that it's going to happen and recognizing it.
Having to accept change is huge, and it does take a lot of internal fortitude, because there's emotions, there's stake in the game, there's so much, but it's not about me, it's about us, right? So understanding, to your point, that team, that force multiplier, it all involves a lot of getting uncomfortable, getting able to stretch. So you dropped a lot of knowledge, my man. I appreciate your knowledge, your philosophies, and your tidbits of advice for folks. And folks listening in and wanting to know, man, I want to publish a book. I don't know what to do, where to go, how to start it. How do they contact you, Chris, or Tactical 16 Publishing?
So real easy. We got a website. I love my web guy. Boy, I can mess up some websites, man. I've tried that before, and I learned quickly that I've got to pay a guy to do this because I'm terrible at it, man. I'm terrible at it. Oh my God. So anyways, yeah, go to tactical16.com, tactical, and then the number 16.com. We've got a great video on there. We hired some guys to do an animated video for us that tells you the process of how we work it. There's a lot to the publishing industry to get a book out there. We help people along the way, and we just want to make you look good. It's not free, but we're a for-profit entity. And we want to make money for our authors, and that's how we operate. So we're out there doing our best to get that out there. We're on social media, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're pretty active on LinkedIn. So all the normal stuff. And then we got authors having their signing parties. Annette Wittenberger is going to have another signing party out in Texas. We got Kim DeFoy, her signing party's coming up this coming weekend. We're really excited for that. And we do things fun, man. So if you're looking for Tactical 16, you want to have fun, don't go to the library because you ain't going to find us there. Don't go to Barnes and Nobles because we don't do things that way. Okay. We're very out of the box. We'll be at a brewery. We'll be at a distillery. We'll be at a sports bar. We'll be at places you want to go, and just have a beer and have fun, dude. And nobody wants to go to the library, that's where mama takes the kids, to go and, have some time in front of books and stuff. And that's fine, but that's not for us, man. We're kind of a rowdy bunch that likes to have fun and, have a drink and goof off. So.
Well, we'll have all that information as part of the show notes and the video. So thank you, Chris, for the time that you've shared with us and all that you have brought, that knowledge that you've brought towards us today. Is a lot of it, right? So a book may come out of that. So imagine that. So folks, if you want to get a hold of us, the leadership void at gmail.com is where you would send any inquiries, any comments about the show, any guests you would like to see. We love to see that come in. So don't be shy. But for today, it's been a great pleasure to spend this time with you, Chris. And Vince will take us all the way to the end.
Oh, yeah, definitely, Chris. We were honored to have you, as Enrique mentioned, part of your great knowledge. And it is a book in the top 10 tips I can see coming from that. But
Yeah, it's from my mistakes and my mess ups.
those are good ones. Yeah, that's some great advice. But yeah, so folks, listen, you can reach Chris at tactical16.com and us at the leadership void at gmail.com. And for those understand, we have a YouTube channel, the leadership void. Hit subscribe, because if you hit subscribe, you're going to enter. Speaking of books, Standing Your Old Salute by Scott McGregor is a book that he wrote, and he autographed for one lucky winner that enters. We're trying to reach 200. And what we do also, we do Radio Check. It's an opportunity, 1st and the 15th of every month at 1900, 7 o'clock p.m. to just reach out to our battles, first responders and military, just to check in, say how you're doing. So we're linked in live every 1st and the 15th on that. And lastly, next week, we're going to speak to a dynamic male spouse doing amazing things in the military community. So stay tuned for next week. But today we are honored to have Chris Schafer here, Tactical 16 CEO. Thank you for coming all the way from Colorado today. So have a great one, and thank you for being on our show.
Hey guys, thank you so very much, man. I really appreciate it, and you know, I'm humbled just to have be on your show, man. Thanks, I do appreciate it.